Welcome back to PodX. This is me, Ayush Majithia, your host. Today's podcast is a very, very, very exciting one. I have Dr. Siddhant Bhargava. Dr. Siddhant Bhargava is a ketogenic diet specialist, celebrity nutritionist, entrepreneur, and content creator. One thing that I've learned from his story is that if life knocks you down, you have to get right back up. In fact, I just had a conversation with Dr. Siddhant before the podcast, and he's like this guy with a lot of positive energy, and I'm excited to share this energy with him on the platform. So, Dr. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining in.
Thanks, man, Ayush. Thank you so much for having me here. And for all future references, just call me Dr. Sid or call me Siddhant. Don't please take my entire name. It's too long. It's kind of annoying to keep listening to Dr. Siddhant. But in any case, super happy to be here, man, and love the hustle. You just told me about what exactly you've been doing, and I'm just super happy to be meeting somebody as bright and sparkling as you are. So very happy to be here, man.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to have you. And I wanted to start off, like I told you, I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship and business. So I wanted to start off with the entrepreneurial side of your life. How did you come across building Food Darzee? What does Food Darzee do exactly? And how do you build it, grow it? What happens inside?
Darzee, essentially, it's a subscription-based model where we provide food which is calorie counted, etc., macro counted with a nutritionist, all of that jazz, to meet your health goal. So, in essence, it's a convenient way of meeting your health goal. You come on board, we give you a personal nutritionist, aka your dietitian. She plans everything for you. She sends over that diet to the kitchen. The kitchen then prepares all of these meals in exact accordance to what she's prepared for you, and all of that is delivered to you fresh. So this is what I've been doing for the past 5 years. Food Darzee started in 2017 in June. So in the next 3 months, we're going to be 5 years old. And we're currently present in about 8 cities, still bootstrapped as a company. And yeah, that's what Food Darzee does, bro. And how I came about doing it was absolute luck. So one thing that I definitely believe in is being at the right place at the right time. Like, I don't believe in fate or luck per se, but I just believe that there are random situations. And when I say random, some people might argue that they're not actually random and nothing is really random in the world. But for lack of better words, random situations and get created, and sometimes you're just a part of them, and that's exactly how most, or probably one of the best, most of the best plans in the world actually come about, by just being there in a random moment with a random person, and then you've just made it. So that's exactly how it happened. That was in the final year of my medicine, and I was sort of not very keen on continuing medicine. I mean, I just was out of it. Like, I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. And it's too much work and not enough fruit for all of that labor. And my dad is a doctor, my granddad is a doctor. So I knew what I was getting myself into, but I wasn't feeling as passionate about it as I used to be. So that's when I met a couple of friends. Coincidentally, they were from my school. It's not like we were friends in school, but when we sort of caught up, we felt a little nostalgic, etc. And we were like, bro, we want to create something in the health and food space, and you're a doctor and you should know nutrition. And at that time, I didn't want to say I don't know nutrition. I just went with the flow and I said, yeah, of course, bro, I'm a doctor, I have to know nutrition, where doctors don't know nutrition. And we started off as that service. We started off with the ketogenic diet, because at that time India was just being hit by the keto wave. Nobody really knew what keto was, and we started off with that service, got quite popular, and then the rest is history.
And now Food Darzee is doing so great. You're like manage. You all work with so many of these celebrities also, the famous ones. So that is really cool to know.
Yeah.
So, but then, you told your partners at that time that you knew about food nutrition when you didn't know much. So what happened next? How did you work on that part?
So basically, I'll tell you the actual story how it started. Okay, so we were in Lonavala. Lonavala is the small hill station in Maharashtra, and we were basically with Devaj is his name. So Devaj and I were batchmates in school. Like, he and I were actually in the same class in school, in the same division. He used to sit on the second bench. I was on the first bench, and he used to irritate the fuck out of everybody in class. So the both of us were just drinking. We were sitting on two opposite beanbags, and we were just tripping out. And at that time, both of us were really into like building muscle and strength training and getting a body, etc., etc. So we were just tripping on the fact that we both come from vegetarian households, and our moms don't let us get chicken into the house. They don't let us cook chicken in the house. How the fuck are we going to meet our protein demands and this and that? So we came up with this brilliant plan that, let's start a service that provides non-vegetarian foods to vegetarian households. Like, that was the brilliant idea we came up with. And then we forgot about the idea there. 3 months later, Devaj calls me up again somewhere around October, and he's like, I want you to meet a couple of my friends because I've discussed the idea. So in my head, I was like, what the fuck? Did he actually discuss this vegetarian, non-vegetarian shitty idea? So I went and I met these people. And then coincidentally, these two were also from school. They were 2 years elder than us. And they clearly were smarter than us because they called our idea quite shitty. But they said that, I think we can do something better in this space. And that's how Food Darzee came about. And when they spoke about the nutrition bit, I sort of did have an idea about nutrition. Reason being, my mom's been into fitness like her entire life. So she runs a gym, spent considerable amount of time in the gym. I got my certifications in like personal training and basics of nutrition, etc. at 18 itself. So it's not like I didn't have an idea. Of course I did. But the amount I know now is what I knew when we were starting Food Darzee was absolutely minuscule. Like, I was just hustling my way, even through a lot of the nutrition counseling that I was doing back then, even though I had a certification. So I guess pieces just fall into place, man.
Yeah, I want to deviate a bit from that part. So also, I come from a vegetarian household, and I face a lot of backslash in social events, because I'm like the only vegetarian. Everyone else is having non-vegetarian. So there are like, people specially order items just for me. Like some of my close friends, I go to their birthday parties, they have vegetarian food only for me and all. But yeah, coming to the point, how can one focus on...
You, bro. You're special to them. I mean, they're accommodating your stupid needs.
No, but so this actually happened once. Most of my close friends, I go for their birthday party, they keep vegetarian food for me. I went to one friend's birthday party. She kept no veg food at all. Even the mousse in the cake had egg, so I couldn't have the cake or the mousse or anything. And then she said she felt so bad about it and all that she forgot that I was a vegetarian and all. So I've actually come home from certain parties completely hungry. But yeah, that's a different story to talk about some other time. But
why are you so strictly vegetarian, man?
I don't know. So I've been brought up in a vegetarian household, so I'm just continuing that now.
Try eating some non-veg food, bro. You're not really living your life if you haven't tried non-vegetarian food. And bro, eggs and pastries and cakes and mousse is a given. You should be having that.
But then,
as long as you can't see something non-vegetarian, just eat it, man.
But then everyone's already moving towards the vegan phase, right? In the whole world, if we see, there's a whole new wave of vegan food happening. So I feel, don't you think that continuing veg would be better? Because everyone would be shifting to vegan or veg anyways over the next 2 or 3 decades, I would say. Do you see that wave happening?
I don't know. But 3 decades, I don't think I'm going to survive 3 decades. So I don't care, bro, if the world shifts to being vegan. I mean, for me, it's not sustainable at all. Like, I don't know how you can live without non-vegetarian food. Like, it's easy for you because you've never had non-vegetarian food, but I don't know, and I don't see the world. I think there might be a phase where a lot of people shift, but then are just going to come back. And then basically, like how husbands lie to their wives about cheating, they lie to their wives about eating non-veg and shit like that. Like, I don't think the world's changing.
Okay, I just hope it does change because I'm vegetarian and I would prefer if everyone else is also veg.
But I mean, if you love animals and that's why you're vegetarian, that's a whole different thing together. I mean, that I respect. But if you're just doing it because of some like tradition or religion, then I don't respect it.
I don't know. Let's see. But yeah, I wanted to ask you this question, which is a personal question. What is like the best form of nutrition and, protein and all that stuff for a vegetarian? What should I eat specifically to build myself up?
Chicken.
Something in vegetarian.
Egg.
Vegetarian.
Bro, eggs nowadays are all unfertilized eggs, bro. They're all vegetarian eggs. They're not actually non-vegetarian. So my answer remains egg. No, but kidding. If I have to tell you, I mean, it depends. You've got a lot of stuff. Since you spoke about going vegan, then soy products are something which can be made use of. So whether it's like soybean or like tofu or like dal, your paneer, all of these things. The only thing with vegetarian protein is that there's not too much lean vegetarian protein. You're a thin guy, right? So it's not like you're going to have a problem with those things. But for fat people who sort of are trying to find lean protein sources, for example, chicken or like any meat or like any fish or even egg, you can get all that protein without. So what I was saying was that yeah, I mean, so you can get lean sources of protein when it comes to non-vegetarian food, but with veg food, you've always got something. Like with dals, you'll always have carbohydrates. With paneer, you'll always have fat. With nuts, you'll always have fat. With soybean, you'll always have carbohydrates. So I don't like vegetarian source of protein that much if I'm going for lean source of protein, but I mean, you've got to do what you got to do. So yeah, these are the ones that you can. And of course, a protein shake is always something that can be had. That is the only lean source of vegetarian protein.
But then I was not sure about this. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I was reading somewhere that the whey protein
It's
that
not.
we have,
It's not.
it, no, no, but I was reading somewhere it stays in our body for a long time or
It's
something
not.
like that.
See,
It's not
I
true.
told you. I knew the answer to your question has to be it's not. So it's bullshit. It doesn't stay. It all passes, bro.
So it's a healthy source of protein.
Unless you heard like Ayushman Khurrana say it takes 3 years to digest one scoop of whey protein. It's all bullshit, man.
Yeah, that's where I heard it from. That was the source which I was asking on.
Nonsense. It is. Don't buy. I mean, don't buy the fact, buy the whey protein.
Okay, but I wanted to ask you another question, which is coming back to the entrepreneurial part. You're working on a few other ventures. So could you tell us about those ventures that you're working on?
So one thing that I'm very actively working on is something known as Feet Wings. Now, the name sucks because when we thought of the company's name at that time, the product was a little different. But essentially, it's a non-invasive blood glucose monitor. Diabetics, they need to prick their finger to get their readings, or they have to wear something known as a continuous glucometer, which is a patch. And all of these things actually either can be invasive or annoying or painful or expensive. To sort of treat that problem, we've come up with a non-invasive way. So you can picture a diabetic wearing a ring on his finger, and that will keep giving continuous data about his blood glucose levels at all points in time. So that is something that I've been working at pretty actively. Apart from that, I've been trying to build this content thing. I've been quite stagnant at it for the past 3 months almost because of something or the other was coming up. I think I've just lost a little interest because I haven't been seeing too much growth, and I don't know, man. I just get bored really quickly. But I've been trying to build a small little talent management startup around content creation, and I know it is a saturated space, but when it comes to like wellness oriented content creators, whether it's doctors, nutritionists, fitness experts, mental health experts, etc., anybody who's associated with the well-being of an individual, those people can be brought together and those people can be managed. So that is something that I've been trying to do with my manager. So he and I got together and we created our own company there. Apart from that, a couple of things here and there. I mean, you're always trying to create more sources of income for yourself because you never know where things actually lead you to. But these are the three things that I'm actually actively working on. Baki sab just trying. Like we're trying to create a like doctors wear scrubs, right? So there are a lot of scrub manufacturers, but they're very unorganized sector. If you can have one leading scrub manufacturer that provides to all students and they can actually feel proud about wearing it, the quality, etc., which is obviously going to fit very well with the wellness community also. So basically, product eventually that I'm going to be able to create will easily be advertised by the influencers which are relevant to those kind of products because I'm anyways going to be managing those influencers. So I'm trying to create like an ecosystem which can benefit me multifold in the future, but let's see, bro, how it goes.
I think that's very exciting, especially like you told me the one for diabetics where you're working on that product, the ring, which can continuously send data. That's like revolutionary, I feel.
Yeah.
And secondly,
that's about like 10x the scope of what food Darzee can ever have. So if done right, it's just that the people I'm working on it with, see, I don't think I have great business acumen, to be honest. Like I'm an average business person. I'm better with the marketing aspect or dealing with people, or uh, like when I was in school, of course, I used to think I'm damn smart and this and that, and I've got a great, superb, high IQ and all of that. In the real world, I do understand I'm not that very smart. I do have an above average IQ, which would probably put me somewhere in, I don't know, the 99th percentile maybe. But when it comes to running a business, your acumen just has to be different. Like, I've known of people who were just not that great when it came to academics, but they're just super businessmen, and that just changed my perspective completely. So, coming back to the point, I don't think I'm great as a business person. I don't think I have the ability to single-handedly scale something. That's the reason why I feel that the diabetic startup needs a little help from somewhere, because I don't believe I'll be able to scale it to become like a 10,000 crore company. The product by itself is great. So it might just become like a 500 crore company because of the product, not because of the people running the product. But to actually take it from there to the next level, you need somebody far, far smarter than I am. So I don't know.
I think
Let's see what
I
happens.
think it'll happen. So this is a very odd question. Did you plan on, or did you think about taking it to Shark Tank? There's like this whole wave of Shark Tank India right now.
Not typically, because so when okay, the reason we didn't apply to Shark Tank this time around was because our idea didn't even have a prototype yet. Like, we were still building a working prototype. Shark Tank couldn't invest in that. And by the time the next Shark Tank scene comes up, we'd already have raised a decent amount of money. Uh, we could actually go to Shark Tank the next time around. It's just that, yeah, man, we could. I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, so there are a lot of conflicts when it comes to running two startups and things like that also. So I just have to be a little careful as to how and where I'm spending my time, and all of that also comes into the picture. So I don't know. Let's see, bro. One step at a time.
Let's see. I hope it works out. But yeah, I'm going to take a second. You spoke about scrubs. I'm going to take a second and promote my video. I actually did a video with the founder of Kanya Med. They manufacture scrubs. So I think his name's Abhijit Kaji. So I'm going to put up the link on the I button, which you'll see on top. Y'all can check that out after this podcast. But yeah, coming back to this podcast.
What does Kanya Med do? Like, what exactly does Kanya Med do?
So Kanya Med actually manufactures scrubs, which is basically they want to create an ecosystem around scrubs where there's like a certain amount of brand. Like, if we think of shoes right now, we think of Nike or Reebok or Adidas and all those shoes. So that's what they want to do with scrubs. They want to produce quality scrubs. And
bas wahi karna hai, bro. You know where all of us got the idea from? There's a scrub company called Figs in America. It's a listed company. A company that only makes scrubs for medical personnel is listed in America. And that's where the idea has come to India, and people want to get there doing that.
But yeah, I wanted to, come back to the entrepreneurial side of the podcast. What were some challenges that you faced while building these companies?
Oh, so with Food Darzee, the challenges were extremely primitive. Like, manpower, everything. Like, we still face challenges. I feel that we still see, we're a bootstrap company, right? We're not funded, and when you're not funded, you try and save money everywhere. And in trying to save money, you sometimes take on more challenges than were required. Like, for example, you're always making sure that you're not over hiring, and you're always making sure that your employee strength is cut to cut. And my employee strength is about 495 right now. But 495 is also very cut to cut, क्योंकि सोचना 495 employees की salaries मतलब कितने पैसे हो जाएंगे. So you're always trying to save money. So that poses a challenge. Apart from that, marketing, retention, basically everything, bro. Every single thing that an average startup has to face. One of our current challenges at Food Darzee is definitely retention, because our product is slightly expensive, and we just feel that eventually we're going to run out of new people to sort of onboard for something like this. And if we don't end up retaining too many customers, then eventually the company can't scale. So that is one of the major challenges that we face. Another challenge is to do with human resources because it's a service industry. You're dealing with an extremely large number of human beings. Not everything can be automated. So of course you do set structure and you do have SOPs and you do have a lot of training that is done. But just because humans being humans, they just end up fucking up whenever they want to, and they don't really know why they did. So that is one of the biggest challenges when you deal with a service oriented industry, especially that is so uh, human resource dominant. So that's another challenge. With Sweetwings challenges, it started off with raising money because my team is two other boys who are still students, biotech students. Nobody wanted to put money in them, saying that, you've got no credibility. So that's where I actually came on as a medical advisor with around like 2 or 3% equity in that company, but eventually rose to being about almost an equal partner in the company because they needed somebody credible to actually put their money on. So money raising challenges. Now the challenges are that we're competing with a lot, like 2022, suddenly a lot of these diabetic startups have come up. A lot of them are very heavily funded. So we're trying to get our product out as quickly as possible, but it's just not possible. So those challenges, getting the accuracy of the product right, those challenges. When you talk about the wellness community, dealing with people's egos, basically, bro, challenges are everywhere. And there, you're always going to face that. As long as you're dealing with human beings, you will always have challenges.
But I want to ask you this: does it get like pissing off when you've thought about a whole industry, you're thinking about how you're going to scale it and all that stuff, and at the time when you're starting out, you see no competition, and then suddenly there's like you said, 2022, there's so much of competition happening. What is that feeling like?
It's irritating. It's damn irritating. But bro, this is something that we have to expect, right? Because I mean, why would everybody put it out there that what, we're working on this product? Like nobody actually talks about it till it's out there. So that's what is happening. And there are a couple of companies which are like massively funded. Like there's this company which has a $69 million funding. $69 million is 500 crore rupees in funding, bro. Like it's sick the amount of funding they've got for a product that they've built, which they still haven't even verified whether it's accurate. So because of these certain discrepancies is why we feel that we still have a chance, because we know that our technology is going to be an X amount of accurate, and we have no idea how accurate their technology is. So that's our silver lining.
And there can be like a hope that it can be another. That company was Theranos, I think, which was like in blood testing. Yeah, so you're hoping that that other company can be a Theranos.
You never know, bro. You never know.
I had this like very simple experience. So basically 2020, like I told you, I enjoy entrepreneurship and business a lot. So I actually came across this idea of Afterpay. Back then, what happened was Afterpay went public in Australia. It's a buy now, pay later company. So you can buy products upfront and you pay them in 4 installments. And back then in India, no one was talking about it. There was nothing happening. And I just did my research and all. And I actually wanted to build something like Afterpay in India. And I actually reached out to clothing manufacturing companies. I reached out to venture capitalists and all that stuff, shared my idea and all that stuff. And most of them, their question was that how can I collect back the money? Some people will spend it, they won't pay back and all that stuff. And I spent a lot of time around it. And then suddenly 3 or 4 companies came up in 2021. And another aspect which I failed was I didn't know how to develop the technology. I can code. I'm a computer science student. I can code, but I can't code that well. So that was another aspect which I wasn't really good at. And then I kind of gave up the idea later. But I'll tell you this, in 2021, 3 or 4 companies itself suddenly popped up, which I had never heard of before in that same market.
Like Simple and Lazy Pay, and these are a couple of the companies who
there's Slice also now, which does it.
Slice also is there. Yeah.
So that was like a very pissing off feeling, but then I was happy with research.
You've told me a couple of times that you're really interested in entrepreneurship and business. So where do you are you actively trying to build something, or do you think you want to complete your college education first? What do you see yourself doing in the next couple of years?
Okay, I'll tell you the exact plan since you've asked it for the first. I've been asked this the first time. So yeah, basically,
none of your guests have ever asked you what you want to do.
No.
What the fuck is wrong with people, bro? A podcast is a conversation. It's not a fucking interview.
But yeah, so what happened was basically my long-term goal is initially I wanted to become an entrepreneur because I'm a Gujarati. First of all, I've always been interested in business and all. And when I was in the seventh
What do your
standard,
parents do? Like, why are you in Goa?
okay, so my dad is into the wedding industry and the events business and all that stuff. So
Oh,
that is why Goa is a
nice.
very good place for us. So that is why I'm in Goa. So yeah, I'll tell you my story. In seventh standard, I saw the Social Network, and the Social Network is basically Mark Zuckerberg's movie. And I was very excited by it because at the end, he says over there that Mark Zuckerberg is worth $25 billion. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be, a billionaire and all. And I actually signed up for like 4 or 5 Udemy courses. I spent money on all these
Hmm.
courses, fancy courses. And then once I started these courses, I realized there were like 45, 50 modules of coding in each course. And I could barely do 4 or 5. But I'll tell you this, I actually got in a team of my classmates. I gave them my Udemy account, and we were all sharing a course. And I taught them, like, we'll start coding and all, and we'll build the next Facebook. But then, like, very soon we realized that coding is actually a lot more. There's like a lot to learn and all that stuff. So I kind of gave up on the idea. But then I was actively always trying to look for different ideas. Like I used to listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I listened to Beer Biceps, Grant Cardone, Alex Becker, all these people. And that's how I actually got into the podcast space later. Because Gary Vee was always like, keep creating content and all. Then till last year, April 2021, I joined a sports startup, which is a sports social network startup. So it's a social network which is made for sports fans. And I was working on that as a growth strategist. It was very exciting, very fun. But what happened was I had my 12th going on, and first term 12th, I scored very, very, very bad marks, which was that. So then I kind of took a break for a month and I answered my semester one exams, like the code ones. That was kind of okay. But then I realized that I can't do 12th and this both of them together while also running a podcast. So then I had to choose, and then I kind of decided to quit. But then I'm
How
always
much
kind
time
of
does running a
constantly
podcast take? Like, how often do you record? How often do you
okay.
film?
So recording would take roughly around, depending on the time, it would take around 1 hour, 1.5 hours. It depends on that. Reaching out is the longer path. Like I told you, the way I find people's contacts and all that stuff, I get in touch with them. After that, what happens is I need to constantly be in touch with these people, because a lot of people, they will tell me कि not now, 1 महीने बाद करते, 3 महीने बाद करते, 6 महीने बाद करते. So I actually have these calendar notifications on. I use Google Calendar a lot, and I have these notifications. Call this person today. Call that person today. So every 3 or 4 months and all. So that's like a very lengthy process for me to get on.
Have
Yes.
these stories where somebody told you वो 6 महीने बाद करते हैं, and then 6 months later they actually came and did it,
Yeah,
or do they
they've
just
done it.
keep
No, they've
done
done it. Some of them have done it, but there's one person I'll tell
Nice.
you, he's been pushing it for more than a year. So he's actually a billionaire, and he's actually
Oh,
way more
Indian
older.
billionaire.
Yeah, Indian billionaire. So he's in his 60s or 70s, I
Nice.
think. So he keeps on pushing it every few months. He's like, sorry, not possible now. Sorry, not possible now. So I'm like, it's okay, sir. I look forward to having you in the future. That is what I always reply to him.
How do you have this conversation with them? Like, supposing today's conversation with Meet was damn easy, because I was
Correct.
like, okay, let's do it, and I told you today only, let's do it. So you're
Correct.
basically my Saturday night entertainment, huh, Ayush, by the way, because I'm trapped in this fucking room because I'm isolating right now. I was like, I need to find something to do, otherwise I'm going to lose my shit. So I was like, let's do it today. But how does a conversation go with somebody else and somebody bigger? Like, I'm minuscule compared to the entrepreneurial world, right? So somebody who's
Okay.
busier, bigger, how did that conversation go with them?
So, like you told me, the first 10 seconds are required to capture the attention. So, that is what I kind of focus on. What I do is, first thing is I introduce them and I tell them my age. When I tell them I'm 17 or 18, it automatically gives them a sense of respect for me that, okay, he's so young and he's doing it. So, most of them I've already sold half of it at the first part. Secondly, I give
Yeah.
them the list of people who've been on my podcast. So, when I give them a few good
Mm.
names, or when there are mutuals, so when they know, okay, I know this person, I know that person, I know this person, that again gives them a sense to say yes. So these are the two key aspects which I focus on. And third is when I go at the third stage, which we didn't reach in our conversation because you said yes before that, which is I go and praise their work, which is why I want to get them on the podcast. And then after that, I ask them, could you please be a guest on my podcast? So that is how it works for me. And these four
Many
stages,
people
like,
say no. Do people say outright no?
I have been blocked by a few people after saying yes. I would say that.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah, that has happened in my story a lot of times.
And you to pick up. Like, I usually don't pick up unknown numbers at all. Your name just sounded nice, so I picked up.
Okay, then I'm happy. I'm happy about it then. Yeah, I was going to be named Ishan actually, but then they chose Ayush. So yeah, I mean, would you have picked up
I think
Ishan?
both are nice names. Yeah, Ishan Majithia also I would have picked up.
Awesome. But yeah, thank you so
Okay,
much for
anyway,
picking
we
up.
digressed a lot. आगे बढ़ क्या क्या questions जो तूने prepare करके रखे हुए हैं.
Awesome. So I'll continue. But yeah. Okay, so I wanted to come to your content creation aspect, which is how did you decide, what made you decide that you want to get into the content creation space?
No, nothing, bro. Like, I've always wanted to be in the content space. I just lacked confidence, I think. I didn't know what kind of content I want to make, and I didn't know whether I'm going to be good in front of a camera, etc., etc. So, in the lockdown, in the second lockdown or in the first lockdown, somewhere there, I said, ki, bro, I'm at home and there's really nothing to do. Like, Foodbazi was going on, but everything had dipped by then. So, work was less, and we were all working from home. So, thoda casual aa gaya tha attitude. So I was like, no, I need to do something in the content space. Let's start. And then just wonderfully again, like absolutely randomly, Reels came out of nowhere. And then Reels just started working. And then Reels just catapulted my account from like zero to somewhere else. And then once you got the followers, then it's easier to make content because then you're motivated because you're seeing growth. It's tough when you're at 2000, 3000. It's very tough at that time because you have to keep pushing yourself every day. But it's okay, the growth will come, the growth will come. So Reels came and it sort of catapulted my entire growth. And then, yeah, that's how content came about.
But then
And
what
it's
was your
fun, yeah,
major,
bro. It's fun.
but what's like your major growth strategy other than, like you said, Reels came out, that's why you grew, but is there like any other strategy you use for growth?
Nothing, nothing. It's only because of Reels. Bro, more than 50% of the content creators that you see today that are well known. So I don't like using the word famous for medium sized content creators like me because we're not famous. We're well known. So well-known content creators have all become well-known because of Reels. There is no other way they have. I mean, YouTube, of course, but we're Instagram content creators. Like we don't have YouTube subscribers because I genuinely don't have the time to make YouTube content. But if you don't have a YouTube page and you're just an Instagrammer, it's purely Reels, bro. Or you're a girl. I mean, I don't mean to be sexist, but
I've actually thought about this, which is so girls actually, if a girl would be running my podcast, I would say she would have gotten a lot more followers because I'll tell you this,
100%.
yeah, and also I'll tell you this, my friend one, she works in this community organization where they spread awareness about different aspects of what's happening in the country and improving it and all that stuff. And she puts out these reels for that page, some of them. And sometimes I just go through these comments. Half the guys aren't even listening to what she has to say. It's more about, oh, how
Yeah.
pretty you are and all that stuff, and it's
Yeah,
so
bro.
sad because she's putting in effort to like send the message out and then they are just looking at the different aspect of it. So yeah.
100%.
But I wanted to ask you this. Why don't you start YouTube? Because I've seen some of your lives. So what you do is you've done these long 1 hour lives explaining different topics and then you've put them as IGTVs. But with IGTVs, people wouldn't want to watch long format and format content on IGTV. So
Bro,
why
so
don't
I
you put
put the
that?
same thing. I put the same IGTV video on YouTube and it's got like 0 views.
Oh.
So, bro, again, see, YouTube ka dunya na is like how I used to feel scared about putting content on Instagram. I think now putting content on YouTube is equally scary for me. I've tried putting a couple of videos on YouTube and nothing seems to work. So I don't know, maybe I just suck or maybe I just need more time on YouTube. But karna to hai, bro. Because Instagram is not a place where people want to sit and consume medicine content all day long. You're actually competing with like entertainment based content creators on YouTube. Their intent is much higher. So they're more probable to consume your content. तो करना तो है YouTube, but देखते हैं.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this. This is like a very selfish and personal question, which is what would be your advice for creators who are starting out? So, someone like me, if I'm starting out, putting out content and all, what would be your advice for me, or what would be your advice for someone in general who's just starting out?
So someone who's just starting out now. Okay. So it depends on what kind of content you're putting out. Okay. Like in my opinion, there are a couple of things that you need to take care of. One, you need to take care of your audio quality, your video quality, all of that is one thing. One, you need to take care about obviously, which is your content. Like you need to be putting focus on your content कि तुम क्या सिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, क्या बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. Another thing would be the consistency. So how often can you actually put out that content? Like the game is, it's a quantity game. And then one thing that I don't think is underrated, I mean, or actually it is underrated, is the way you look and the way you present yourself. Like you need to have a strong camera presence because you want people to be attracted to you instantly. When I say attracted, I don't mean they want to like pull your pants down attracted. I just mean that they need to be drawn towards you, to how you are. So whether it's getting, 1 second, hate to sneeze. Okay, but it didn't happen. So yeah, you just, whether it's your grooming, whether it's your hairstyle, whether it's the clothes you wear, I don't know, because I've seen so many times that certain people just click on social media and certain people don't. And there is obviously something which is intangible about this that nobody seems to understand. So just be the most pleasing version of yourself on social media, and that's going to help.
Okay, I think
So
I'll try that
you're
as well.
17, 18 right now, right?
Correct. I'm 18.
You're
Yeah.
18. So you have reached that phase where your outwardly appearances do mean something to you. Like a 14, 13, 14-year-old boy would probably not care about it, but an 18-year-old boy does care about it. So you eventually, you are going to start thinking in this manner where, okay, I need to get a little broader on my shoulders. Okay, I need to have a little beard hair on my face. So my haircut needs to be a little better. All of these things will start entering the equation, and they must, because all of these things are important, because on social media they're here to watch you first, then they're here to take value from you. And of course the exception will always exist. Like I'm sure there will be this one extremely shabby looking individual who's still putting out information because he's great at the information that he's putting out. They will always exist. But then if things can be corrected, correct them immediately. And then, I mean, basically don't set yourself up for success. That's what I believe in. So all the components of being successful should be taken care of.
Okay, I will try that. But for me, what's very disheartening is, okay, I'll tell you what kind of content has been working. So, there was a phase where people, if they just came and they swore bad words on a video and they uploaded it, they got a lot of, applaud for it and all that stuff. And they grew a lot. And that is actually something which I find very bad for me, because I don't want to do that on camera. I don't swear anyways much often outside camera also. So that's like, it's kind of like, okay, I'll tell you this. I feel this kind of insecurity that maybe I'm not enough with other creators or on par with them when I see something like this happening.
So let me ask you a question. Eventually, what's the kind of, see, okay, actually my question framing was going to be wrong. I was going to ask you what is the kind of value that you're going to be providing out to your audience. But then I realized that all these podcasts are actually a lot of value that you're providing, right? So I just feel that, I don't know, man. Like, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Which is a creator that you sort of compare yourself to who is your age?
Who is my age? I would say, I won't give you direct names, but there are many of these creators who will they got famous on Reels, which is they are just putting out either dance videos or they're putting out music, which isn't really that great, but they are focusing more on dance and funny videos.
Dave, Tarini, Astha, all these kids, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to name them
it's
because
okay.
maybe I want to get them on the podcast.
They're all very close friends of mine, so don't worry about it. So all these kids also, their content is much different compared to what you're putting out. So now my next question was going to be, who is a content creator somewhere around your age in your category that you're comparing yourself to?
I think I would say these people.
Now these people aren't your category at all, right?
Oh, because I don't think there is anyone else in my category then. I don't see.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So इसका ये मतलब है that कोई है ही नहीं ना. So you will decide how fast your category can grow. You are actually going to be the front runner in your category. These people are entertainment based creators. Their views, their engagement, their reach is always going to be higher. For you, the only thing you can work on is building a personal brand so that no matter what, you put out, people come to listen to what Ayush wants to say. People don't go there to see what content Agastya or Tarini or Astha are making. They just go there to be entertained. So whether Tarini put out an Astha video or Astha put out an Agastya video, nobody would really care. This is what I feel. I mean, a lot of them in the next 6 months are going to be larger than me also. So it sometimes feels a little odd talking about people who are larger than you, but this is the reality. On the flip side, if Tarini put out something that I talk about, it's not going to be taken because she's not me.
Correct.
So people come to listen to Dr. Sid, right? So the same way, if people started coming to listen to Ayush, look at Beer Biceps. He's a legend, right?
Correct.
People come to listen to Beer Biceps. He was the first person in his category. He built the category. So you have to think about it in that manner only. And bro, focus on all the points of growth, like all of these things. Like even right now, for example, the reason this video, like this podcast that we're having is fun. Like it's I mean, this must be one of your more casual podcasts that you're actually doing because we're having
Correct.
this to and fro conversation. But the
Correct.
video quality on this sucks.
Correct.
Like look how I'm sitting. I mean, now because of the way I am sitting, your quality content, the quality of your content is also going down, right? So eventually, once you got enough podcasts, you want to start giving out mandates to your guests that, I'd ideally want a clean background or I'd want, like I'm using a mic for you so that the audio quality is absolutely perfect. Like my audio is going to be very crisp. It's not going to have too much disturbance. I switched off my AC, my fan, all of that so that I can add quality to your podcast. But as a video podcast, this sucks.
Correct.
So now, eventually, this is something that you're going to want to have to take care of. That how do you sort of put it out there? Do you want to tell your guests whether you want to dress up, how you want to dress up? Or do you want this mic to be right in front of your face? Do you want the mic to be red in color? Basically, your content is something that you're anyways producing, but you need to start looking at the other things also. And then
Correct.
keep at it. And then apart from podcasts, do other things also because people don't want to listen to some random 18-year-old boy who's calling guests and talking to them. I mean, why would they want to? They have nothing. I mean, they do have something to gain, but there are a lot of people doing the same. So then they need to see what Ayush does behind the scenes also, which means to build a successful personal brand, that person has to be out there. Every successful personal brand puts out more information about themselves than they used to. Look at Gary Vee, for example. You know so many things about Gary Vee. Now, of course, Gary Vee is alug because he's Gary Vee. We look at random American YouTubers, 1 million, 2 million followers wale jo hote hain. Sometimes they just vlog, they give information, they do podcasts, but they're consistently giving out something. They're letting people into their personal lives, and that's how you'll become a bigger personal brand. And part two about becoming a personal brand is you need to be an entrepreneur because that's what is in, right? Like look at your Shark Tank wale jo sharks hai. All 5 of them were absolutely nothing when it came to social media before Shark Tank. Look at where they are now. 100,000 followers on Instagram straight up. Twitter also 600,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah,
कुछ एक चीज तो देखो करनी पड़ेगी bro.
I think someone else also suggested me to start vlogging, so I think I will focus on that. In fact, so I'm actually focusing on creating just short reel vlogs, right? As of now, probably the longer version of vlogs I'll see it later. Like I did a vlog just before this podcast. So basically, when I called you up and you said yes, I actually hadn't shaved and all that stuff. So I just kept the camera in front of me and I was like, I'm going to be recording a podcast with Dr. Siddhant. I will shave and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah. So yeah, you'll see the reel tonight, probably. Once this podcast is done, I'll be ending it. But yeah, that is on focus.
And one thing I'll give advice to you is, since you're the host of the podcast, get better lighting on you.
Okay.
Correct? Because like anyways, I'm assuming you're recording from a webcam, right? Your laptop's webcam.
Correct.
So make sure that your quality goes up there. Put like a ring light in front of you. You're not a person who wears, like I have chashma, so I can't put a ring light because it glows. So I need to have 2 lights on the side, but you don't. So put a ring light. Like improve. Jahan choti cheeze improve kar sakta hai, wo improve karta ja. So that those small improvements only become like your base.
Correct. I think I want to do all of that. So then I can like you said, I want to, the plan is to grow ultimately. get fruit out of this
And
podcast. So
do
I
you
think I
like
will.
stream? Do you play games or whatever?
No, not at all. I'm very
Ah,
bad at
to,
gaming. Also, I don't play.
then that is a different thing. Because like YouTube streaming, like it's just blowing up, bro. Like so many of these gaming streamers, bro, what followers they have. Yeah. Like it's fucking crazy. The other day I was thinking that वो Instagram चालू करने वाला था ना, join वाला feature where people can pay you $100 a month, so they'll get access to like exclusive content and exclusive live session and exclusive stories, like how YouTube has that join thing. So, bro, I was
Correct.
thinking for a person like say Sara Ali Khan, for example, okay, she's got 40 million followers on Instagram. Okay, if every follower gave her 1 rupee
That's
per
40
month,
lakhs
that's
a
it.
month.
That's 40 lakhs
Correct.
a month. 1 fucking rupee.
And even if it's
So
just half of them, that's still a lot of it. Assuming that
it's
the
still a
other
lot of
50%
money,
is
bro.
inactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that
yeah,
that
bro.
space is like growing a lot. Yeah, I just hope to
It's
be a part of the
becoming
wave which
massive.
comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so do you have
Yeah, bro.
this is part one of the conversation of the podcast. So do you have any advice before we end part one for the audience about what we spoke about?
Uh, I don't know, man. Like, no real advice. I mean, the point is that everybody already knows what to do. Like, there's no real advice that's going to change your life. It's just about doing shit. Like a lot of us spend time thinking and thinking about the most perfect way to get shit done, but I don't think that's a great way of thinking. You want to do something, just go out there, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and eventually it's going to give you a result. And when I say keep doing it, I don't mean like just blindly go and do the same thing over and over again even if it's wrong. Obviously make your micro changes in there, analyze, go back to the drawing board, change shit, get back there, do it again, just keep repeating this process over and over again. Somewhere, something or the other will yield something.
Awesome. So I'm going to take this advice also for my life. And with this, I think I'm going to end the first part. We're going to have Dr. Sid on another episode where we're going to be talking about the health aspect, the fitness aspect, and his story. So we are excited. So thank you, Dr. Sid, for this episode.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me, Ayush, bro. Loved this conversation. You're damn chill. You're a great person to sort of talk to. And I'm just happy, bro. I think this was a good 1 hour spent.
Thank you so much.